In last week's Hunt Showdown PvP video, we looked at how you can get more successful in fights with preparing crosshair and jump peeking. But for that to happen, it has to come to a fight first. So if you often have the situation where you just get picked off out of nowhere and you have no way to even enter a fight, today is going to be a good video for you. Because today we are going to look how to move around in Hunt Showdown in a way that gives us the best chances of success, and look at all the information that goes into it. And as always, those infos and this guide work for a 1-star hunter just as well as a 6-star hunter. So it really doesn't matter on what level you're currently playing at. First of all, the most obvious: if you make noise somewhere, horses, cages, ravens, then everybody nearby will point their barrels in your direction. And yes, sometimes you think, who cares, this horse, let it cry, I don't care. Trust me, I've been there. I'm the king of clumsiness. But how bad is it really? Respectively, how far can you hear those noises? We tested that and I'm sure you will be quite surprised. Now that's intense. Did you expect to hear those noises that far? That means in the worst case scenario, if you startle some ravens on a corner, a quarter of the map just heard it and knows where you are. Which in turn means we want to avoid startling horses, ravens, cages, etc. at all costs. But that doesn't mean we have to crawl around like Gollum. Because at certain distances, nothing reacts, depending on how fast you move. Walking, for example, triggers at around 5 meters. If you sneak, you can almost play Boop the Snoop with the horse. But if you run, you have 15 meters or more. That's insane. Now understandably, you don't want to sneak around across the whole map. So what really is the speed penalty? Obviously, sprinting is the fastest, but how much do we really lose if we just walk, for example? So as we can see, 60% is not that bad. So 60% as fast as running. Of course, sneaking is incredibly slow compared to 30% of the maximum running speed. So from that, I would say let's, leave that out of it. But basically, with just walking, we cut our trigger radius to a third while only losing 40% of our speed. And that's a damn good deal. So just by walking, we should easily be able to get through compounds without being detected. What else is important? There is beast face for clumsy animals like me. With it, you can get extremely close to animals. I don't know exactly what the numbers are here, but it's crazy. You can almost step on them and they don't react. So to all of you who are struggling a little bit, I would recommend that you use that perk. The only exceptions are branches and shards. If you step on them and they're in range, the ravens will fly off again. But those infos are the first big step. Knowing how fast you can move and how far other hunters can hear it if you startle something. But now we come to the second part and somewhat more complex topic. Basically, how do we navigate across the map in Hunt Showdown? Quietly, of course, as we just looked at, but quickly nonetheless. Still, there's a bit of a question like, what the hell does this even mean? For example, the clue was collected quietly. We have two choices. We choose one and...
It was at this moment that he knew.
In this situation, you can't do much anymore. Even if you play very well, if you get caught by yourself against the whole team, you're most likely dead. So what was the mistake here? Many people only consider themselves and the path they want to take, and not what others might do. In this example, we basically have two teams to worry about. The one that is right next to us and the one at Stillwater. So if we want to go to Stillwater ourselves, it would be better to not just run there. Better would be to run a detour if we really want to go there. So we want to run a circle to the inside of the map because we are guaranteed to not have any hunters there at the moment. And then in an arc come back to Stillwater that if there's another team already there, we face them head on. This way we don't get surprised. Now that was the basis of this consideration. Now let's look at a concrete example of our entire raid. As before, we don't have a direct spawn fight, meaning we can go to the clue, collect it, and make our first guess at where the boss is likely to be. And it's always a good exercise, try to guess where the boss is. And now we can do the same as before. Which spawns are relevant to us? Usually spawns are just paths that lead out of the map. If you don't know where the spawns are, so any path that leads outside the border of a map is usually a spawn. Now looking at these spawns, which ones are not ideal for us? Well, the ones that come from Puerto Rico and the ones at Chapel. Now we ourselves could go Puerto Rico, but it's probably not ideal as there are already teams there and they will hear us coming if we go through the water, so we probably want to avoid that. And Chapel, even if it was still white, it would not be ideal either. Here, Alice Farm would be an excellent choice, even if it's a bit further away. The chance of running into someone is the lowest there. Now of course the one team could already be moving along and heading towards Alice as well, so we are going to correct course a little bit, so a bit closer to Puerto Rico, as we expect those hunters to move on and then make a bit of a detour again to Alice. This way, if the team from Chapel comes from below, we can see them from the front. Don't get slammed in the back. Means we run our arc, check if somebody is coming, in which case not, take the clue, but try to hurry here, so if we have to take the hit to be fast, gladly take it. And now the same again. Think about where could other people come from. A lot of teams will move up from below. Other teams will move into the area itself. But that also means there are two openings for us here. The one is Lock Bay at the top because it's unlikely that the boys from Puerto Rico will go Darrow and then Lock Bay. They're more likely to move towards Reynard. Alternatively, we could target Darrow from the top because again, if we face another team, it's from the front, so we have a fair fighting chance. Just remember, we have potentially teams in our back, so we want to hurry. In this example, it's going to be Lock Bay, and there's a team there. So I tried to land a shot, missed it, and now remember, we have teams in our back, potentially. So we don't want to fight here. That's just a third party waiting to happen. So we take our second option and go to Darrow. On the way there, unfortunately, the boss gets banished, and he actually was Reynard. And here, the final consideration. How do we want to position ourselves? We know that most teams are going to rotate in there from the bottom and from the right. So we might not want to stand somewhere in the middle and play standing chicken for them. Meaning we pick a side where we have a little bit of our peace and quiet to push, to work, to throw stuff in, and ultimately to conquer the bounty. How we do that, how to push and so on, we will look at that in another video because it's a pretty big topic in itself. But I hope this raid example helps to understand what considerations go into a raid and how you go about it. And this whole taking another route and position yourself in a good way works excellently in any situation. Look at this example right here. I just rotated in their back and 6-star hunters, by the way. It's also the case that when other teams then come in eventually and they start fighting, we are not in a potential sandwich situation right here. We are free to act. We can flank, we can just go through the middle and maybe get a sneaky bounty even, or a sneaky kill. Another 6-star hunter, by the way. So we have way more options to move around and play the game. Because what you need to understand is at a certain level, simply every player has good aim. If you peek where the player is awaiting you, you're already dead. So in summary, we don't want to sneak, but we also don't want to run laughing into a buzzsaw. Meaning we want to be quietly fast and position ourselves so that we ourselves don't end up in a potential third party situation. And in a way that we have a fair fighting chance. So in each raid, try to think about how do the other people most likely move around and where should I position myself. I hope the illustrations help understanding what it means and how you go about it. And as always, if this was helpful, please smash the thumbs up as it really helps the channel. Thanks for the support. If you have questions, put them in the comment section down below. If you want to support the channel to help me cover the expenses for music, animation and so on, licenses are expensive, then consider becoming a channel member or eat a Twitch Prime in my Twitch channel, although it is in German. Then as always, thanks for watching and good luck and a bayou. Take care.